Everyone, this is Shannon from the irishscrapper.com, and today we are making a beautiful card. I do not have a sentiment on this card, so this is blank to be used however you would like it to be used, but it has a lot of fun texture and gorgeous colors. I know it's summer. This is kind of leaning towards a little bit of fall, but I wanted to show you how you can use some of our dies to create a sunflower or floral look that could be really fun, and you can change it up as much as you want. So the products that we are using today, we are going to be using the Sparkle Embossing Folder, the Hexagon Dynamic Embossing Folder. We are going to be using the Eastern Medallions Thinlits, as well as the Flourish Thinlit dies to create this card. So let me go ahead and show you how I created this. So our card base is a piece of Early Espresso. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of our gold foil paper. This is 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of crumb cake. This is cut 3 3/4 by 5. I have a piece of Very Vanilla. This is for the inside of the card. And then I have a scrap piece of the Early Espresso as well as the Wild Wasabi for our die cutting, and a piece of So Saffron. The So Saffron. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some of our big shot work first. Here is our Big Shot. Absolutely wonderful tool. This is a great tool to have to do embossing as well as die cutting. You will have it for years. It is a wonderful investment, so just keep that in mind if that's something you've been thinking about. You can purchase the Big Shot in my online store anytime at theirishscrapper.com. We are first going to emboss our piece of crumb cake with the Sparkle Embossing Folder. Okay, so I have my Big Shot platform. I have one acrylic plate. I'm going to put my embossing folder and another acrylic plate and run that through. Okay, and you can see this beautiful texture now we have on our layer. Now we're going to go ahead and do the dynamic embossing. Okay, so the dynamic embossing folders are much thicker than your typical folder, so it does require a different sandwich. So just keep that in mind. I am going to punch out a 2-inch circle. You could also use your layering circle framelits here. Okay, so for our sandwich, we have our Big Shot platform. I am going to put my piece of So Saffron into my hexagon folder, and then I am going to only use one acrylic plate on the top of this and run that through. Okay, and you will see that beautiful honeycomb. It's gorgeous. Alright, so now let's go ahead and do our die cutting. So I'm going to switch platforms. I have my magnetic platform here as well as my precision base plate. My piece of Wild Wasabi, and I'm using this die from the Eastern Beauty. I'm going to put my cutting plate on top and run this through. I am going to cut 2 of these, so you will see that this is not fully cut out. So I'm going to now just lay that die down again, put my cutting plate back on and roll it through. Okay, so I have 2 of those cut. Wild Wasabi, and I'm going to put down my leaf here. And we are going to run that through. Okay, I have a piece of Early Espresso here, and we are going to die cut this little circle. I'm going to move this up because we are going to punch this out as well. and roll that through. Okay, so you'll see that that die cut, but it did not punch it, so I have my 1 1/4 inch circle punch. You could also use your layering circle framelits, and we are just going to line this up and punch that out as well. Foam pad here, as well as my die brush, and we're just going to pop these pieces out. That just doesn't want to give up. I have my leaf here from the Flourish Thinlits. And then I have my 2 flowers, or pieces we're going to turn into the flower. We're just going to run the brush over that. Get those pieces out as best as we can. And then we are going to actually bring in our snips, okay? So you'll see that these pieces are not fully cut. We're just going to snip between each petal. Now that we have our pieces cut, I think what makes this flower so beautiful is that I've actually sponged the petals as well as our centerpiece and our leaf element. So with our finger dauber, I have my wild wasabi. And I'm going to open that up, and I am just going to do the edges of my flower. I just think it brings so much depth to the front of the card. I love it. It makes it so more realistic. It looks like a real flower. And you could easily do this in any color. This flower would look pretty. This kind of reminded me, you know, of sunflower, of course. But you could do any flower, any colors that you wanted. Okay, so I think you can see the difference from a little bit of the sponging. You get a little ink on your hand, you know you're having fun, right? Okay, so now I'm going to bring in just a scratch piece of paper, and I'm going to hold this leaf down, and I'm just going to add some ink to it. This one's a little bit more delicate, so just be careful you don't tear your leaf. But that little bit just makes a huge difference in the leaf. Okay, so now we're going to take our So Saffron and do the same thing. I'm going to switch my sponge, or finger dauber, open up the So Saffron, and I am going to go around the edge, and immediately you can see the difference. So cool. And with the dynamic embossing folders, the emboss is much thicker, if that makes sense. I'm even going to go over the top of it, so you'll see that design kind of really pop out. The dynamic folders are so cool. It just really brings that whole element that much further. Isn't that neat? Okay, now we're getting ready here to assemble. Okay, so let's start by assembling our flower since I have these pieces all handy. I'm going to kind of offset my flower. I'm going to add a little bit of Fast Fuse to the center of this. I love my Fast Fuse. What a great adhesive, strong adhesive, and easy to use. And then I'm going to bring my edges up on my flower. Okay, I'm going to take that embossed So Saffron piece. We're going to put that in the center as well. Just like that. Okay, and then with this one we can use a little bit of the fine tip glue pen. Okay, so we're going to take that and we are going to put that right in the center. And as you guys know, I love to use a block to kind of hold things in place for me. Okay, so while we give that a moment, we can go ahead and work on the base, our card base here. So we have our early espresso. I'm going to take that gold foil paper, gorgeous. I usually am a little bit more frugal with my gold paper, but sometimes you just need it. It makes such a difference, and it's beautiful, and you want the receiver to really notice those extra details. So I'm using a full piece there. Now I have my crumb cake. We have that embossed. I have a piece of our 3/8 mini chevron ribbon. This is in the crushed curry. I'm going to use the cheater method here, and I'm going to take 2 little pieces of Scotch tape, and I'm going to use that, flip that over. I'm going to use that to hold my ribbon in place. Whoops. It didn't go as smoothly as I hoped. There we go. Sometimes that happens. Let's make sure we're still straight. Okay. And then I'm going to take that fast fuse again because this is embossed, so I want this to go around all 4 sides so that it will hold. Alright, and we're going to lay that down on top of our gold foil. Okay, so now our flower has kind of adhered. We're good to go there. I'm going to add some fast fuse to the back of our flower. And then I'm just going to kind of put my stem into that fast fuse. And then we are going to lay that down right about there. If you wanted to put a sentiment on this, you could totally do that. You could fit that in. It wouldn't be that hard to find a spot. You could do something with the classic label punch. That would work. I've already tied a bow and another piece of that mini chevron 3/8 ribbon, so I'm going to put a glue dot on the back of that. And we are going to add our little bow right there. Okay, and then on the inside now, we're going to take that piece of Very Vanilla. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And we are going to put that right on the inside. And then you can choose to stamp a sentiment or just leave this blank, as I am going to until I'm ready and have a need for the card. It's nice to have some blank ones in your stash. Okay. Okay, so that about completes our card. Oh, I almost forgot. We had one more detail, and that was I have a little circle here, which I punched, actually using our cookie cutter punch. I just punched out one of the circles from this set, so you can use any of your dies or punches that you might have that. I'm going to add this little circle in the gold foil with a glue dot. And we're just going to add that to the center here just to kind of give us a bit of a finishing touch. And that completes our cards. So as always, guys, I thank you so much for watching. Any of today's products can be purchased in my online store. I will have a full supply list in the description of this video. And I look forward to being back with you real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.